Yay Media Group.
Welcome to My Safe Word is More with your hosts from Survivor, An Amazing Race, the exquisite Corinne Kaplan, TV personality and stand-up comedian, the hilarious Al Jackson.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm your producer, Chris Clark, and this is My Safe Word is More.
What's up, Chris Clark?
Thank you, Chris. Chris also has 3 Emmys, which we don't often talk about, but it's more impressive than either of us.
How often would you talk about your 3 Emmys?
Every day.
Every day.
Every fucking day. Guys, we have a really special episode for you today. I want to start by making a very sincere apology.
To me?
No.
Okay.
Well, to everyone, you included. So I am a very perfect person, as everyone knows. And I am extremely anal. And this type of thing does not normally happen, but I am also not tech savvy. And so what happened here is that I get alerts when I have a new email from our Gmail. That is how I know when we have one. And for the last, 6 weeks, I've been like, why is no one, I get when you guys send me stuff on Instagram, like Amy sends me Crackhead Craigslist or, anything that you guys want me to cover on Instagram, I always see it because it's obviously I'm checking the Instagram. But I have a work email, a personal email, then this Gmail, then the Instagram. And I got yesterday, one of our swimmers wrote in and said, because I put out a bat signal, can you guys send me some fucking advice questions? And immediately someone was just sent one in. And I'm sitting at Erica Cobb's house and it all like a tsunami rained down on me. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I haven't been getting the notifications. Because then I realized I haven't been getting any spam either. I go in, oh my God, there's so many emails.
When you say so many, just a lot.
Yeah, because there's a lot of we signed up for LegalZoom. There's 100 legals. There's just so many emails for no reason. I don't know why. I just suddenly stopped getting the notifications and I didn't think to go in. And so there are a bunch of people waiting on advice. So we decided to dedicate a full episode to advice questions. We picked some of our favorites from the emails that came in. And I want to let you know that you are going to hear about my cruise. And there is a 2-part episode coming after this. So let us dive right in. I'm going to open the segment.
Okay.
With the very first email.
Okay, first email. Hold on.
So first email out the gates. We have it's titled Urgent, and thankfully this one came in recently. It's not one of the ones that's been sitting, so I am here for you, Matt. Hey, Corinne and Al, I need advice urgently.
I'm assuming it was all caps.
No, but I just felt like I needed to say that. This past summer, I met the most amazing guy at a bar. We connected in a way I have never felt before. The problem is he shipped out to Kuwait the very next day, and I've been a nervous wreck ever since. Communicating with him is spotty at best, and I feel like every time I message him, I end up looking super cringy and desperate. He is so nice and wonderful, so I'd love to salvage this any way I can. Thanks.
I don't. What are your thoughts? Because I
have a lot of thoughts. First of all, he's in Kuwait. So, okay, actually, I have a story. So I thought to myself, what I was about to tell you is he's in Kuwait. Who's he meeting in Kuwait, right? It's probably, you probably are going to be okay.
Is this a gay soldier?
I'm assuming.
And
it's definitely a gay man.
He's about to be kicked out by Trump, but yeah.
So, okay. So I as I've told on podcasts before, I proposed to a guy in the Air Force and I got down on one knee at a winery in Idaho. This man was in a random Air Force base in Idaho. And when I went to that Air Force base, I was Jessica Simpson entertaining the troops. Everyone fawned over me. So it never occurred to me to even be slightly concerned. When our communication would get a little spotty, I'd be like, what's he going to do? And then he left me for a woman he met in the goddamn Air Force in this shit base in Boise. And he is now married to her and they have children and he will not even accept my LinkedIn request.
Well, why would he?
So while I'm telling you, don't worry, it's Kuwait. I don't even know if I believe that. But
it's tough because he's in a situation where being in the Air Force, being in the Army, being in a remote location, you know this from being on Survivor, it's a brother-sisterhood, weirdly, where you're going to connect with somebody. So somebody there is going to have not only more access, but more talking points. Because think about if you've been in Kuwait for a year. Mm-hmm. What are me and you going to talk about? You haven't been pop culture. There's no can you believe Serena Williams got divorced? Whatever the pop culture thing happened, you're going to be like, I was on a sub. I don't know what's been going on. So there's not going to be a lot of connection as the same connection that you would have with somebody you've been in a bunker with, taking cold showers, taking shits in the places with no doors on them.
Again, we're making the assumption that he doesn't just work in oil and gas or something. Like, he shipped out, but that doesn't mean...
That means the Army. You don't say you shipped out on a vacation.
Also, like, I don't know how... I don't know what his propensity to meet a fellow gay man in the Army is.
I would say high.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a gay man that enjoys sex, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you think there might be another man on the base that enjoys sex?
This just only needs to be one?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
That's a great thing.
But, okay, so...
anything else is just a better story.
Yeah. So I think you're asking how to be less desperate and cringy. And unfortunately, I'm the wrong person for that advice because I am often. I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but if I really like somebody, I just read desperate and cringy. Like, it's just, It's pink rings. It's, I'm really good at that. I think that you're not going to love this advice, but the only thing that has ever worked for me in this type of situation is I got to have more people on the roster. It's the only thing that calms down the crazy. I just have to. There's no substitute for that. So
100%.
he's not. Yeah, he doesn't know what's going on while he's in Kuwait. He ain't gonna see you, on Grindr. So
and you can assume that he assumes that you're living your life until he gets back. And I think that is a thing. The reason that every high school senior couple goes, me and you, Corinne, I know I'm going to North Carolina and you're going to UCLA, but we're going to be together all 4 years. And then next thing you know, drunken frat call party. Like, I'm not going to make it home.
Yeah.
If you go, live your life, I'm going to live my life. If we run into each other back home or at an airport and it's right there, let's get back on it. But the more you try and hold it tighter, you're going to kill it. Look at your relationship like a bunny.
Yeah.
Don't squeeze the bunny. Even though the bunny's sweet and soft, you're going to kill it.
Also, may I suggest marking your territory? For example.
Like Nexium Cult?
No, that's
cattle
actually
brand?
Not a terrible idea. I mean, like, I would send him, a boudoir calendar or something so that, like, Chris is like, that's what I would do. Like, I would get, like, have him be in possession of things that show that he's
For the record, the last soldier Corinne dated was during the Roaring 20s.
I have made
boudoir
boudoir calendars.
What? Yeah, but what do you think? It's going straight to his mailbox? Like, there's a shipping facility. Guys are gonna open it and be like, "Yo, your man said what's up."
You want to know something I did when I was dating the married doctor who was obviously cheating with me. And I gave him an ultimatum. He didn't bite. So I moved to LA. We stayed together. But what I did before I left was, because I couldn't make him a boudoir calendar, I took a picture of every place that we used to go, like my favorite Irish pub, Fitzgerald's, like Marquee, the nightclub, like all the places. I took a picture of the front of them and I made a calendar so he would remember every month about the memories we made in these places.
That's really crazy.
Oh, God, that's such a turnoff.
Oh, my God. Turn off. I'm like, because I would, if you sent those to me.
I had a high school girlfriend who used to, like, write poems to me and then burn the edges. And I was like,
that, but I wanted him every month. Like,
are you serious?
It was creepy, man.
Yeah.
It was
It's
like,
weird.
all right.
But I wanted him to remember all of our good times. See, that's the thing he's asking. It's hard. You feel disconnected because time is passing. Conversations become less and less, and you're trying to fill the gap there. And
yes,
so
with commercial real estate shots. This is a parking garage. His wife is like, "Are you have a second career?" That is a good way to, like, not get caught. Because usually most people get caught with dick pics that they didn't know you have to delete out of your deleted folder. This is just like, I just took a picture of
the front of the Manhattan Promenade where I lived. Remember how many nights you spent here? Like that.
Yeah. Maybe don't caption him with that, but
yeah.
I think you're good for the first part.
Also, on his birthday, I got him a cake delivered to his office that had a cheetah on it. Get it?
Yeah.
Because he's a cheater?
Yeah. I got it, but that's really, that's like when you're too pussy to really go all the way with being a crazy chick. Like, you're not going to kill a rabbit and cook it. But I'm still going to let you know I'm crazy with frosting.
I'm going to blow both your minds right now. You know how I'm throwing this New Year's Eve party at Erica's house? I just recently got high on Ambien and invited him, and I'm waiting to hear if he's coming.
Oh, my God.
So there's hope for you. Okay.
When's the last time he corresponded with you?
Oh, he's always trying to get back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right. Now
I'm going to take it over. I have not pre-read this, so I'm going to enjoy this with
Yeah.
our swimmers. Okay. It says, "Hi, Alan Corinne. Quick advice question. I've been going to the same massage therapist for over 10 years, and she does a really good job. However, the last couple years, she spends almost the entire massage venting about drama in her life. I can relate to
I
this.
can so relate to this. Oh,
my God. I do not want to be rude and tell her to shut up, but I no longer find the massage relaxing, having to listen to her the whole time. Should I find a new massage therapist, or is there a way I can ask her to be quiet without seeming rude or upsetting her? Love the pod, and thank God for Yay Media."
Yes, we do thank God for them every day.
Yes.
I will tell you that I have certainly had this. I'm currently, my hairdresser, when she's not drunk, is using me as her therapist. And the most annoying thing about these kinds of situations are that person, like when I leave that interaction, thinks that they've had a great interaction with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you're supposed to therapize me if anything. If I'm paying for your services, you got to listen to me. I don't have to listen to you. And also, we don't have to talk. But once you cross the threshold, there's no way to back it down. It's just that's now the new normal, and you have to find a new massage therapist. You just do.
There is so much wisdom in this one. You are exactly right.
Sorry.
There are lines, and I always say, when you really love something, you put a boundary up. If you love your puppy, you put a fence up so it doesn't run away. It's not that you don't want it to run free on the prairie. It's just like once it's gone, it's out. And that's what's going on here. As a Black man, it's not talked about in the greater public, but Black barbers are extremely territorial. It's to the point where they'll be like,
I did know that.
"Did somebody why is your fade so low?" And it's just like, so you have to go to the same dude. And sometimes the same dude, they get comfortable. And then after a while, I had a barber in LA and I loved him, but it would already take like 50 minutes because he'd be talking and cut. There'd be points where he would cut the clippers off.
Yes. Oh my God.
And just talk.
I know.
And I'm like, I don't have time.
This is what my hairdresser does. She starts pontificating and then she's not cutting my hair.
Yeah.
Or in that case, coloring it. Yeah. It's, trust me, if I have no other advice for you. This is what has to happen. You need to get a different
You got to
massage
move
therapist.
on. Absolutely.
Yeah, you do. All right, we're going to get a quick break in here and then come back with some more of your emails. All right, swimmers. I just want to remind you, if you want to write into us, it's mysafewordismoreadvice@gmail.com. I will fucking check the emails. I'm so sorry. Let's get one of my very favorite swimmers, Cam, wrote in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so he says, "Greetings and salutations, Safe Word. Cam here. Just finished this week's episode of Safe Word on the YouTube channel, and I am pleased to say the only thing better than the podcast is the new YouTube series. Thank you, Cam.
Hey.
You guys should all be watching. All right. After Corinne's reunion story with Bob, loved the Survivor throwback, it reminded me I need some advice on plane etiquette for some seasoned travelers for work. All right. So I was recently on a plane headed to a work trip in Miami. It's our company's annual conference, which typically hosts thousands of real estate agents. This is not my first work conference, and I've learned that the trip to the conference is very valuable as it allows you to get in the right headspace. I very much understand this because I go to national sales meetings and I need no one to talk to me because I have to be on for 3 full days when I get to that meeting, like on the whole time. And I cannot waste an ounce of small talk at all before that.
But does small talk lead to networking in your business?
When I'm at the actual conference, yes. But like I'm talking, if I got a chatty Uber drive, like this, you're draining a battery and I don't have that much.
Right.
So he says, while flying, the lady next to me could not help but just needed an audience. She would not stop talking to the poor man next to her until he faked sleeping, so she turned her attention to me. She asked where I work, what do I do? I don't typically advertise where I work as you just don't know what's going to happen. It's best to keep things vague. I tell her I'm a project manager. She keeps prodding until I kindly tell her I don't talk much about where I work out of respect for my company when I'm not on the clock. Little did I realize she had already spotted my bag, which had my company logo on it because it is required at this conference. She put together that I essentially worked for her as she is an agent at my company. We are a virtual company and we live in different states. Well, it said, this is what she said. Well, it said on your bag and I'm headed to the same conference. I was just saying hello. How you handled that was a real turnoff.
Ooh.
So now he's like freaked out. Like he's like basically underneath her. And now he's in a worse headspace than before because now he's pissed off somebody that's going to be at this conference. So he's absolutely panicked. This is exactly why I don't advertise where I work. I'm fearful she can complain about me and I could lose a job I love. I immediately perk up, try to brush it off, try to engage reluctantly and just let her talk. She talks for 30 minutes giving me sales advice while I'm not in sales, talking about how great she is at her job. I keep quiet, smile, and nod. I consider myself a professional, but in this moment, I was internally having a panic and a breakdown. I am not in a position to discuss higher ups or the decisions they make. As much as I tried to casually explain that, she was not biting. After an hour of this, we land in Miami and she tells me she hopes to see me at the conference. Thank God we never did. Here's the question. Al, what would you do in this situation? Did I make a mistake by being cagey about where I worked? Obviously, I was stupid for not clocking. I had the company logo on my bag, but where do the lines blur for work time and personal time? Do I have a duty to engage and entertain this person because of our work dynamic? Thank you for all of the helpful advice. Shout out to all the mental health swimmers. Well, this is interesting because you were talking about boundaries, and it's very difficult because if you want to exert a boundary in a situation where the other person is like, fuck your boundaries, you kind of work under me.
Okay. And
what do you do?
I'll say this. You know me. I always say hip hop explains everything. There is a line in hip hop
way more often than you would
that
think.
explains everything. And Wu-Tang Clan, cash rules everything around me. Dollar bill. If you are bringing in dollar bills for your company won't give a fuck if this woman saw you eating a live baby on your tray table.
It's true.
People don't care about anything but the bottom line. And trust me, any person that this woman interacts with on a regular basis knows she's bananagrams. So they're not taking her advice like it's this sage woman, like some old CEO that can't believe how rude this person was. They're like, oh, that's just Mary going off. Just let her finish. Yeah, and then what do you do? Okay, yeah, I'll look into it. No one's going to check you over how you were. And the fact that you were being discreet about your business make you look better.
I agree with you, but I am you, Cam. I would be completely fucking panicked. And I am exactly like you on a flight. Like, you'd have to be very attractive for me to talk to you. There's just like no other. Every once in a blue moon, if there's an old lady next to me, I will maybe make nice because I like old people.
But like, you have a preference for.
I do. I very much understand every single thing you did is what I would have done. But the second she was like, I don't like how you handled that. I want to tell you for your own like mental state that just imagine like Al saying like the retelling of this narrative. What is the story? I sat next to a guy and he really didn't want to talk about work. And I thought that was rude. Like there's not even a good retelling where you seem like the villain in the story. So I wouldn't worry about that. But I, in the moment, would have been as worried as you. And I would have been doing the same thing, trying to salvage it.
Right. It would have been way worse if he was trying to hit on her.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I wonder how old these people are. Because
Well,
there's a real difference in age, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're an older person, you're always on when it comes to work. And if you're younger, you separate
is
your
younger,
work
yeah.
and personal
That's
time.
a good point.
Yeah.
Really good point.
You know what I would have done, honestly, if this were me, I know what I would have done because I would have been so nerved out that I would have overcorrected the shit out of the situation. And I would have been like, here's my cell phone number. I would love to grab a drink with you. Like I would have completely destroyed, like you're lucky you didn't have to see her at the conference. I would have ended up adding her on Facebook. Like I would have way overcorrected because I completely understand the mental challenge to this.
If she's like, if you thought the plane was bad, now I got you one-on-one at the bar. They even brought our appetizers. You about to hear all my stories. You're about to hear every story.
I'm looking at pictures of her children on her phone. Like I'm doing all the things I don't want to do. So, talking about boundaries, that's the thing. Like I know I'm going to be miserable if I don't respect my own boundaries. Yet here I am.
Yeah.
Disrespecting the shit out of my own front lawn.
Cam, you did good.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. I like this one. It's titled Things I Don't Want to See. I like it.
I want to just, if you are a new listener, there is a segment which we're bringing back actually. And it's just, I call it Things I Don't Want to Hear About. I mean, as an off-the-cuff example, I am really uninterested in whatever Northwest is doing. So things like that, right? Things that are just irritating you on a regular basis and things I don't want to hear about. He has changed it to things I don't want to see. And I did read this email and I completely agree. Go for it. I wonder if you will agree too.
Side note, the things I don't want to hear about, that you like to travel. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Everyone says it. It's unnecessary. Stop saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, Corinne and Al. I'm a huge fan of the podcast. Corinne, I've been a big fan of yours since ATF, and I'm so glad you found a place to share your stories. Al is hilarious and the perfect co-host to you. Agreed. Anyways, I
Thank
wanted to add something to the things I don't want to see tab. I don't want to see anybody driving in those stupid space-looking cars Tesla makes. Not only are they the ugliest car I've ever seen, I'm going to assume that 10 times out of 10, the person driving them is a huge douchebag
Definitely.
who is desperate for attention. Every time I see those cars driving on the road, I cringe. Please stop being pathetic and get a normal fucking car. Love you guys, Anthony.
So well, here, what do you think of those cars? You're a car guy. I'm not. I mean,
I am. And I believe what he's referring to is the Cybertruck.
yes, of course.
And I saw one the other day. I've started to see more this
me
year than
too.
I ever have. And honestly, you know what my first thought, Chris, was? This is the Hummer for
Yeah.
2000.
It's like that.
Yeah, it's the Hummer where it's like you would just see somebody with a yellow Hummer just taking, because
My
you
ex-football
got it.
player was
Yeah.
at a yellow Hummer. Yeah.
It is a siren call that I am a douchebag, but especially with the new Trump world we're living in, douchebags have now come out of the closet and they're like, they want to feel like that because they tell their other douchebag community,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm scaring the straights out there. Like, you should see, I take up 2 parking spaces and there's enough people where you're not an outcast of society. So that is more of a symbol to other people that I'm an asshole to, I'm selfish to, and they can connect like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I am like, this is my thing with those. I think they are very ugly. I like when I can tell someone has money and I don't have to strain, right? Like, I appreciate someone wearing an obnoxious watch because I'm like, oh, cool, I understand you have money. That's helpful for me.
Right.
I treat people different when they have money.
But wouldn't
So-
a really nice low-key watch seem like they got money?
I don't want to strain. Like, for example, my father was wearing for years a watch he got for free with his Reader's Digest subscription because he thinks having a fancy watch is insane. Well, one of my athlete friends had a drawer. We called it other people's shit. Girls would leave things there at his house and then he never saw them again. And so there was a Movado watch in the drawer and I was like, I have this. And I gave it to my dad. But anyways, I told him, like, I know, it's just side story.
I hope you didn't tell him the story as well.
I don't think I did. It was like a unisex looking Movado. It wasn't like female looking.
Here, Dad, the police are looking for this.
On this tip, just real quick while I'm on this tangent, I was wearing a gold necklace that I got from this drawer. And I was out at a club in New York City. And this girl came up to me and she's like, that's my fucking necklace. And I was like, no, it's not. And she goes, yes, it is. And I was like, I don't even know who you are. And she goes, and she says her first and last name, flips the necklace over, and there are her initials. And I was like, it goes with my outfit. Can I give it to you some other time?
Did you really? And what'd she say?
And I did exchange numbers with her, and I did give her the necklace back.
She let you leave?
She let me, yeah. She was kind of hopeful my famous friend was going to hit her up. And I was like, we're good friends. I'll put in a good word. He was like, I ain't calling that bitch. And I'm like, okay, well, here's your necklace back. Good luck to you.
Wow. What are the chances?
Neither
Was
of
it a
us-
distinctive?
Kind of. It was because it was a gold, like longer gold chain with a shorter gold chain. They were like all attached and there was a medallion and the other side of the medallion had our initials on it.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyways,
Where's this drawer, by the way? Okay.
I know. Man, I pilfered that drawer. I was the only person that knew it existed. I just was like, can you just tell the maids when they find jewelry to put it in this drawer? And he's like, sure. And
Really quickly, would you date a guy with a Cybertruck?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I was going with this. So I like money.
Yeah.
And it's helpful. I don't like when you're like somebody picks me up and it's, a Prius or something for the environment. And I'm like, well, do you have money or
Right.
not?
Because they could be a billionaire.
I don't want to strain. Just be obvious.
Have you ever gotten jettisoned a guy and you found out later he was
Yes.
super paid?
Yes. It's one of my biggest regrets. He was like gorgeous guy, 6'9". He came to when I was a cocktail waitress, or I was a bottle waitress, not a cocktail. He came into my bar a bunch and he was really hot, but he told me he was a teacher. And I was like, no, thank you. That's not enough money. No offense to teachers, but it's not a lot of money. And turned out he was like the heir to a huge fucking empire. And I found out years later, because he's the heir to a lot of money and he teaches because he cares to teach, I suppose.
Isn't it crazy that
and he was so hot.
Those people are walking around?
I know.
I think I said this on one of our first 10 pods, but a girl that I went to, family friends that literally, her parents hooked my parents up, and the reason I'm here, their daughter, who was like a very, and I'm not saying this to be insulting, a very average, sweet person, but not stunning looking at all. Not at all. She married an African prince.
What the fuck?
Dude, to the point where...
She must give crazy head.
To the point where everybody was like, dude, get out of here. Like, I love her, but like, it sounded like a Coming to America.
Yes.
I went on her Facebook. There are pictures of them. Like when they got married in Africa, they flew everybody out first class to Africa. Everyone that came to the wedding. Like they have insane money. And she was just a girl that went to high school with me. And she married a legit African prince.
Which makes her a princess.
Yeah, she absolutely is.
Oh man.
Absolutely. And she has a sister, and I'm sure her sister's like, the fuck?
Yeah. Is she hotter, the sister? The hotter sister didn't end up a princess? Fuck all that. Anyways, in summation, be obvious when you have money. It's annoying when you're not. All right, we're going to take a break, and then I'm coming back with a very dark story. Al has not heard this. Chris has. It is really good.
All right.
All right, welcome back. This story is near and dear to my heart. Does everyone remember what my very favorite pastime is?
Bullying those you deem lesser?
Yes, that is one of them. The other favorite pastime is I really enjoy a good kidnapping story.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And so this sweet person, who I'll leave nameless just because of the story, wrote in and said, "Hi, Corinne. Heard you like a kidnapping story. Happy to deliver too. ATF listener, recently found your new pod and binged 50% of it this week. Thank you for all the laughs. First story is mine. The second is my cousin's. I'm going to warn you because these were very long. I am only going to do the first story, and then we will come back and do the second story at another time. So let's kick it off with story number 1, which, as you know, is his. This happened to him.
Okay. Should I hold my reactions till the end? Okay.
Whenever
the spirit moves you.
Yeah,
all right.
There you go.
React all you want.
There we go.
I started taking swimming lessons when I was 7 at a local pool every Sunday for a summer or 2. Conveniently, it was only a block or 2 away from my house, so instead of changing at the pool, I just walked home soaking wet, swim trunks, flip-flops, towel in hand. And I went on a lot of walks, bike rides with my family in our suburban neighborhood, and I knew the streets pretty well. I was pretty comfortable making the commute on foot. One late Sunday morning, while I was making my usual walk back home from swim class through my neighborhood, a huge red truck pulled up beside me. It looked heavy-duty, like GMC vibes. The passenger side door swung open, and I saw 2 white dudes, I think between 25 and 35. The one in the driver's seat had a beard. The car was really close to the sidewalk, and it seemed like they wanted to talk to me, so I stopped. The guy in the passenger seat asked me, "Hey, do you want any candy? We have a ton," which I know is very cliche. He said, I politely declined because I don't like candy. It's why Halloween is my least favorite holiday. I kept walking down the right side of the street, but I started to get a little weirded out once I noticed the big red truck start to follow me along the sidewalk. The men continued to try to talk to me, asking me what my name was, etc. At this point, I was only about a block away from my house, so I started to speed up my pace. The truck started to speed up as well. This scared me, so before they caught back up, I crossed to the left side of the street, the side my house was on, and after I crossed, the truck zoomed a bit further ahead, made a complete 180-degree turn, and then drove next to me on the sidewalk again. To me, this was confirmation the truck was following, so I started sprinting. I only had to make it 4 houses more, and once I saw my front door wide open and heard George Harrison's My Sweet Lord blasting from the garage, I knew my dad was home and I was safe. After I entered my house with my dad clearly visible in the driveway, the truck finally drove away. Isn't that crazy? He was definitely a mark. Like, he was definitely about to get kidnapped.
God.
I know. And like, he says later in the email, after he tells the second story, like, he says, I know that this seems insane. Like, do you want some candy is the most unoriginal kidnapping line ever. Like, you couldn't come up with anything else. But my lack of a sweet tooth saved the day. If he had said like a ham, egg, and cheese bagel in the car, I would have 100% gotten in.
Absolutely. I told you about this is very similar. Obviously, theirs is more harrowing because they followed. But I was in my, I guess, my uncle's neighborhood, and I was just walking around. It was probably, I don't know, 12, maybe 10. And I got to the crosswalk, and this is like not a suburban neighborhood, but right off of a main street. And there was this white dude. This is a mixed neighborhood, but it was probably 60-40 black. Wasn't a big deal that there was a white dude, but there's something
Out
in
of
you.
place?
He's out of place, even for like 10 or, because you see people in your neighborhood and you're like, that doesn't look. And he was at the stop sign with his hood up, and he had a funnel in his thing, and he was like, hey, buddy, I need you to hold this funnel while I put this oil in.
The old Ted Bundy, I need help moving.
Yeah, and I just, something told me, but I didn't have the words, so I burst into tears and ran the 180 degrees the other way. And either he was totally normal, but it was just like all what little street sense that people had before the internet. I was just like, something is wrong with this. I was like, why does a grown man need me? And it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I turned and I ran, but that's so weird.
I mean, in this guy's case, you can tell that obviously this happened a long time ago, right? Given the George Michael song that's blasting. So like back then.
George Michael's time.
George Harrison.
Oh, George Harrison.
He's a Beatle.
Yeah. You know what? When I was reading that, I was like, I know every George Michael song and I don't know this one. That's why I got it confused in my brain. Oh, yes. George Harrison had one song I liked. I'm not going to remember it right now. There was like clocks in the video.
Have you ever been close to being kidnapped? I could see. I mean, you did go to a roof with a psycho to take boudoir pictures.
I've told I have two. Well, I don't know, not kidnapped because I wasn't a kid, but like in college twice. I was like, yeah. I mean, some guy tried to get in my vehicle. I won't retell the story, but he ran up to my passenger side door and tried to get in my car. Which,
when you were going to sorority rush party.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was the drive-by crotching, where the guy just grabbed my undercarriage while I was getting into this Ford Explorer in the middle of an empty parking lot after a football game. Nevertheless, I always maintain that I don't know that I'm that kidnappable. Like as a kid, I mean, I'm kind of a bitch and I'm very high maintenance, like especially as a kid, like I'm a picky eater. I'm like, I think you would probably return me immediately.
I think the instances of kids being kidnapped by someone they don't know are extremely rare. It rarely happens.
Yes, but it's my
Most
favorite.
kidnappings are by people they know.
Yes.
By another parent, you know.
Or it's...
But kidnappings by people that it seems like it's a lot because they make television segments about it on Dateline.
Well, usually it's a periphery person. It's like, was it? I always confuse this. Amanda Smart, the one who it was like that.
Elizabeth Smart,
right? It's that homeless couple that
Once again,
like was
it happens,
working on the house.
But the odds of it happening.
Well, that's why it's such a great story.
Exactly.
You ruined the story, by the way. If you'd gotten in the truck, we could have gotten so much more out of this.
Yeah, right?
But
Think of our pod.
The thing is, because...
Kids these days, by the way, are funny about it. I remember my 12-year-old was like, we're walking down the street and he goes, Dad, look, a white van with no windows. Wonder if they have candy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy how it's evolved.
That's like a joke.
I told you, how savvy these kids are. It ruined my... I was going to... I got my daughter and two of her best friends tickets to SZA to go see her at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. And I was going to surprise her and be in the Uber when she got in. I was like, I'm going to drive y'all to the concert. And so, I'm coordinating this with her mom. Like when she comes out of school, her mom was going to be like, I'm tired of work. You pick this. I sent an Uber for you. And so normally they'd be like, oh, Dad. And my daughter was just like, send the license plate. Send a screenshot of his Uber credentials.
Oh my God.
And like destroyed, but like, it was like, you can't, these aren't your grandparents' candy. And, I got you. Like my daughter was like, I don't know, dude. Send what's his rating? Yeah. It's like, I don't know if kidnappings are up or down, but I think in your case, Corinne, I think it's because you're a kid that had activities. So you were always doing something, whether it was trapeze or you weren't walking around a lot. I think
I was though.
You were out in them streets?
I was. I mean, I had friends in the neighborhood and like we had like, the Adam Walsh thing happened like from a mall that I used to frequent. And so we were very warned about kidnapping. But nevertheless, I think in my, because I was quite like scrawny as a kid, like I was tall, but I was really, really thin and like, I think it'd be easy if you wanted to grab.
Are you saying you weren't hot enough to be kidnapped?
No, I was, but I think
I was.
You could have,
No, I was.
No, I was. I started modeling when I was in 6th grade. But you could have grabbed me pretty easily. Like I don't think I could fight somebody off, but you'd immediately regret that decision.
Yeah, you'd have made a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been really unpleasant. That's what I had friends when I was going, the first time I was going to South America, and they were like, don't get sold into white slavery. I was like, that would be horrible. I can't cook. There's nothing. I can't do anything.
You're just annoying the shit out of your hostage takers. It's so cold in here.
Yeah. Have you thought about getting braces? Your teeth are bad. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for the emails. We love when you send them in. I promise to stay on top of it. This will not happen again. Mark my words.
And guys, I've been telling her to check the emails, and she's like, fuck them. And I'm like, that's rude, but that's her.
He, by the way, could also have been checking.
No, I couldn't. In theory.
In theory, right. Right. Chris, do you have any final thoughts?
I kind of engaged, but I just want to remind everyone to tune into the next 2 episodes because Corinne went on a cruise. We have 2 parts of her experience on a cruise, and it's insane.
Yes.
Of course it is.
Buckle up for that.
Yes. So you tune in for the cruise, and remember that you don't just tune in because this is a podcast about life.
It's a podcast about shutting the fuck up if you're my massage therapist.